It's time for all Essendon supporters to don the sash and make a stand together. Call 1300 GO BOMBERS or visit membership.essendonfc.com.au today.
John, the moment has come. It's the eve of the first round of Essendon v Gold Coast. You're with your new, well, some might say diminished, some might say not, but the side, how's the team prepared?
Yeah, the team's prepared pretty well. You know, it's come together really since the middle of January, so it is a bit different. We all acknowledge that it is a different situation than normal. But the guys, most of the guys that we've got in there today are experienced players, and they've settled in really quickly. They didn't need to learn a lot about the game, obviously. So the whole squad still got plenty to learn about each other, but we're excited about stepping up to that now.
James Crowley over from Freo, Ryan Crowley, James Kelly from Geelong. Just this different blend of clubs and cultures all coming together under really, really trying circumstances for the Essendon Football Club. What sort of culture do you think you are creating for 2016?
Yeah, well, our aim is to create a culture of elite standards in our preparation and performance, to make sure that we learn a lot throughout this year and have some fun while we're doing it, no matter how tough it is. Also for the players to really understand what they bring to the club and to focus on bringing that without trying to think they've got to find something extra.
What do you say to fans? I mean, already look how many you've got here just to come out and watch training of a reduced squad, shall we say. What do you say to them about what you hope to do?
Yeah, well, this is the start of the new era for the Essendon Footy Club, and I think people are recognising that. So this year is a different year. A lot of this squad won't be part of the Essendon Footy Club next year, but what they're going to help us create with their experience is a great culture going forward.
Your rested players, how are they, do you think, today on the eve of Essendon's first round game tomorrow? I mean, this must be excruciating for them.
Yeah, look, I honestly can't talk on their behalf, but I'm sure there's different things that happen throughout the year that will affect them all differently. But they've got a lot of support around them, and we acknowledge that it's tough now. Yeah, round one, and they're not part of it. But they all have got a plan in place for throughout the course of this year with a view to be back playing great AFL footy next season.
Yourself, John, I mean, gosh, you're over from the West, you're in your first year as well as coach of Essendon. How have you taken to your new squad?
Look, I'm really enjoying it. I love the game. It's the Essendon Footy Club's been wonderful, helping and welcoming myself and my family. But deep down, it's here to do a job, coach the team to grow and become successful and be part of a great club. So I'm enjoying the challenges that's thrown up already, and I'm going to really look forward to all the challenges that we'll face throughout the year.
Now, Rodney Eade spoke this morning, and he said, look, there's always talk of doom and gloom for Essendon, but he said there's some good quality kids out on the paddock, and he said, we're up for anything. That sort of reception from Gold Coast, how do you respond?
We wouldn't expect anything less. We don't expect that any club will take us lightly, and we don't want that. We don't want to go into a game with anyone feeling sorry for us. We're going into games to play and learn a brand of footy that over a number of weeks we'll continue to grow and get better at. But ultimately, it's going to be around the effort that we're putting in that we're going to measure ourselves on.
Now, as you would have heard overnight, a bombshell about what's gone on in the Collingwood Football Club in the off-season. Up to a quarter of their players, their list, found to have taken illicit drugs over the off-season. John, when you hear that, it's thrown the whole AFL drugs policy into complete question and disarray again. What are your thoughts when you hear that?
Yeah, I suppose my immediate thoughts are we don't know if that's fact. That's probably the biggest thing. So we need to deal with the facts. But there has been quite a substantial change and strengthening of the illicit drugs policy this year. But that we won't see the impact of that for probably throughout this season. players have been educated about the new measures, so they're well and truly aware of it. And if they get caught out, they won't be able to say it was through ignorance. So I'm keen to see how that policy now starts to kick in.
If these charges are proven, would you expect precedent to be followed? Because it happened 2 years earlier with 2 other players. They had to sit out for 2 years. Would you expect the same of this 11 players who are reportedly... would you expect the same type?
Well, it's part of a different policy. So the previous Collingwood players to be suspended was under the performance enhancing WADA policy. This is under the illicit drugs policy. So it'll be dealt with according to what the policy is, which is about confidentiality and education for players.
Last question. Last question. How are you going to feel tomorrow afternoon, John, when the siren sounds, the boys have run through the banner?
Oh, I'm excited. Yeah, I'm excited for these boys. It's been a tough summer for them. They're excited about playing footy again. So I'll be just as excited for them, and whatever the game throws up, we just want to get out there, play alongside each other, support each other and give it a red hot go.
Look forward to the result, mate.
Thank you. Yeah, absolutely.
What are the last 2 sort of pre-season results? What have you taken out of them? I mean, there's obviously people who are going to say, that's a sign of what's to come.
Yeah. Well, certainly against Geelong, we were out. They were a much stronger squad than what we took up to Shepparton. So it wasn't a surprise that they were going to be too strong for us. And what we learned from that was with a very young team, and we struggled to win the footy. We were out possession by nearly 100. Against West Coast, we actually found the ball, which was encouraging, but we were pretty rusty with our ball use and our chemistry together, really. So they were disappointing results, but this pre-season for us was about just learning a little bit about each other and learning about the areas we need to now focus on. And we learned a lot from both those games, which will hold us in good stead for the future.
And Gold Coast go into this one as sort of favourite, which is a tag they haven't quite dealt with before. I mean, they were favourites going into the first couple of games last season and didn't get up.
Yep.
Is that something you've spoken about in terms of perhaps staying with them, applying pressure, and perhaps seeing what happens once the pressure's on them?
We haven't spoken about the bookies odds, but we talk about the way we want to play footy. And the way we want to play footy is defensively put a lot of pressure on the opposition, absolutely. But we've also got to be smart with the way we move the ball when we're in our attacking game as well. So, no, it doesn't really come into about how Gold Coast are going to respond to favouritism or anything like that. Our focus is on playing our best footy.
Sorry, just quickly, regarding Collingwood, are you surprised by the amount of players that were?
I don't know how many players there were. Do you know? No, you know what someone guessed, so we don't know.
Reportedly 11.
Yeah, really, it is a confidential process, so I would have no idea.
Just on that, some clubs have come out. There's other conjecture that there are actually 2 other clubs, John, that are in a worse position than players during the off-season. Do you have any idea who those clubs are?
No. As I said, it's a confidential process. I don't even know where Essendon sits on that table. So, the people that need to know, and the policy's in place, and we're going to support that policy. And as I said, it has been strengthened this year. So players are aware that if they choose that behaviour, then they're running a risk.
AFL Players Association's come out swinging, saying exactly that this should be treated as a confidential process, and why we're even having this conversation. Would you agree with that?
I haven't really thought about that, but it is just people guessing at the moment or conjecture. So regardless of all that, there's a policy in place that's about educating young AFL footballers about expectations, and we'll support that.